Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight.
Hey guys, welcome to Cheap Old Cars and Corners. In today's video, we're actually going to be going over these two Bullits here. Now, the differences between them are kind of growing. This car over here is stock. Now, you might look at this car and say, well, it's got a Mach 1 hood and a 01 Cobra bumper and staggered 10th anniversary wheels and all the things, and it's not that stock. Well, really it is. Outside of a few apparent things, suspension, brakes, engine, transmission, rear end, all stock. The blue Bullitt. This one, obviously you look at and you can see the 0304 Cobra bumper and you might say, well, it's got an 0304 Cobra bumper, but it's not really that low. It's not really that much different than stock. It actually is. Some staggered 18-inch wheels, not a big deal, right? A little bit upgraded front brakes. Actually has coilovers in the front. Maximum Motorsports coilovers on Bilsteins with that same company's caster camber plates, tubular lower front control arms, tubular lower rear control arms that are adjustable as H&R Super Sport rear springs. The front springs on the coilovers are 275 pound, which some people say is too soft for the street or what. It's not. It's a good street spring. It's too soft for autocross for sure. We have Corbeau RRX seats, Momo steering wheel, MGW shifter, and other little things throughout that make it more of a handling car, or at least it's supposed to be a handling car. Does it actually handle better? Is it worth the thousands of dollars in parts I've got in it? I don't know. Honestly, we got to figure this out, right? Because I've got a stock car there. The Bullitt was a handling package to begin with that already came with seats with bolsters and stiffer springs that were lower. Did I make this car better? The blue one, did I improve it any? Let's take them out. Let's compare kind of back to back how they are. Let's see. We're cruising along here in this stock Bullitt, right? And the seats are better than the GTs. I'll give them that right off the rip. They got better bolstering. They're more supportive. They just fit me better. The seats in the Bullitt honestly feel like the seats from second gen Trans Ams. I really like them. Now, I'm comfortable. Okay. It's not too hot out with the wind blowing. Got the windows down a little bit. But let's talk about headroom. Let's talk about shifter, steering wheel and stuff. Steering wheel is kind of big. A lot of people's complaints about these cars and their vague steering and stuff is a lot of it's how boosted the steering is, and the steering wheel's kind of big. We'll talk about the other one in just a second. I've got a sideways fist here. Now my hands aren't very big, but I'm pretty close with a helmet and stuff. I'd be right up near the ceiling. Now, one thing I want to ask you guys about: what's your favorite shifter for whatever your car is? Tell me your car and tell me your favorite shifter for it. This right here is the stock shifter. And it's not great for drag racing. Everyone knows that. It's just not a good, precise, and quick shifter for drag racing. Like right here, I'm coming up to a corner. I want to heel into a downshift. It's perfectly fine for that. Get through the corner, and then back and forth. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't bother me at all. All right, first we're going to talk about seats. Hey, there's a red C5 Vet. I like Corvettes. C06. I waved at him. He probably thought I was some stupid clicky. Anyway, general comfort, right? These seats are firm. They're not uncomfortable, okay? That is something I want to put out there. I really like the Corbeau seats. These are the RRX. They're firm. I got lumbar support in them. There's a little squeezy thing that I can pump air into the lumbar support bag, and that makes a big difference. Big difference. I am sitting lower. My hand is not just kind of jammed into the the foam up here and the foam in the cloth. I've got an inch, maybe half inch, something like that. More headroom. I will tell you that my butt feels way lower, but my head doesn't feel a lot lower. That's that whole long torso thing I have. My wife's sitting in these seats over here on the passenger side. She's not here right now, but if she's sitting there, she can barely see over the dash, because she's long-legged and short torso, so it's kind of funny. Now, we talk about the steering wheel. This one's smaller. It is kind of an Alcantara type stuff, which maybe was a mistake, just because it's kind of hard to clean, and if my hands are dirty, then it kind of gets on the steering wheel, and that's not good. But I like how it feels. Just sit here in neutral for a second at this stoplight. I like how it feels. It's smaller, which if I have less leverage, then it actually makes the steering a little harder to turn. I really like it. I really like it a lot. The shifter too, you guys have seen in some of the shifts, It's a MGW with a comfort handle. It's still, I mean, that's in the fifth, back to fourth. It's a short throw. It is. And it's a little clunkier, a little harder to manhandle than the factory shifter, probably just due to the factory shifter being long and having more leverage. However, I'm a big fan of the MGW shifters. And we'll do the same thing here like we did on the last one. I'll run up here, get on the brake, and heel and toe down to that one. It's just, I have thoughts about the cornering after hitting just that one corner, and I'll cover those when we get to the cornering section. At 70 with 327 gears, we were right at 2,000 RPM, so that's not bad. Going 70, about 20, hang on, let me spin one more, 2,600 RPM. Unfortunately, the speed limit on the interstate around here is 75, and traffic goes 80, so I'm turning close to 3,000 RPM a lot of times driving this car on the interstate. Now, I do want to talk about general ride comfort. I've driven the car enough back in here, like I'm kind of remembering how it drives, because I haven't driven this one in a while. And honestly, I really like the Bullitt springs. They're 600-pound front, 250-pound rear. It's firm, but it feels sporty, and it doesn't punish you if you have decent dampers, right? But that's really subjective, because I have a friend who has a very stock Mustang GT with fairly soft dampers on it, and he says it rides horrible and it beats it back up and all kinds of stuff. So like, the ride quality is subjective. The Bullitt to me and the Mach 1, which has the same spring rates, should be like, that's the base. That should be the base, in my opinion. Alright guys, general ride comfort of the blue Bullitt with its Maximum Motorsports coilovers in the front. They have two 75-pound front springs. Okay, a lot of people will say because you remove friction in the front by going to a coilover setup, that the 275 is like softer than Bullitt springs and stuff. They're not. Okay, removing friction means that the suspension is able to do what it needs to do and soak up stuff easier, but that doesn't mean it's softer. Like, I have another video, and I might put a little section in here, or maybe at the cornering bit at the end, I'm not sure, but I'll put a little section in showing like this car on H&R Super Sports, which is what it still has in the rear, but what it had in the front, versus the Maximum Motorsports 275s. The car both rides better and corners flatter. This car does ride a little stiffer than the factory Bullitt, because, you know, we're comparing springs on this car that are more similar to like the H&R Super Sport, which is a stiffer spring. And so you would expect it to ride stiffer. You can definitely feel that. However, it doesn't beat me up. It's not that bad. If this had stock seats in it, it would still be a pretty comfortable ride. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of acceleration. I'm rolling a little bit, not super hard, but like... Good sharp second. I got to 55 there. Alright, down in first, basically stopped, almost stopped. Alright, let's do it. So that was top of second. About 50, 55, somewhere in there. This one definitely pulls harder. We got about the same chirp going into second. Alright, now we're to my favorite part, some corners. There's a little bit of a rough shift. some corners and see how it does. All right, we are to some corners. Let's make this thing run. Oh yeah, that's so good. Churchville now. Get across this a little bit. This thing is really good turn in for a front heavy car. Okay, so one thing that I was driving that green car, and it's been a while since I've driven that, and I was driving it and I'm like, man, it handles really well. It's nice and flat through the corners and it's really good. Here's this bump we did. It was worse in this car versus the green car, but it wasn't bad. You know, I run through a corner and I'm like, you know, the green car's not bad, but then I do the same corner in this car and I'm like, oh, I'm going faster. I mean, I'm not like going crazy speeds out here on these back roads. I'm not trying to get myself in jail, but you know, I'm going faster. The car feels more planted. It does feel better. It's the stiffer springs. It's the rear lower control arms that are stiffer, and everything's being held in place better. Oof. You know, that's interesting, guys. I haven't driven these two cars close enough together to each other, and this is, although you're seeing it like interior, you know, shifter, steering wheel, you know, you're seeing it kind of broke up like that. I did these two runs back to back, and I'm really surprised at the amount of difference.
This next section right here is actually the best, I think, because there's bumps, there's me going through a corner, and this is 40 miles an hour, it's 0.7 G, so I can go through that corner quite a bit faster, but you can see there's more control on that Bilstein 275 coilover, there's less body roll, there's more control.
So as we come to the end of this video, you get it? You get it because at the start of the video we were at the front of the cars, and now we're at the back of the cars for the end. There's your dad joke for the day. So as we come to the end of this video though, I originally came into this, making this, thinking that I've said in the past the seats, the Corbeau RRX seats in the Blue Bullitt were my favorite mod and the biggest improvement to that car. Guys, I'm gonna say this right now, the package I've kind of put together here for this car is really good for a fairly low price, right? We got the H&R Super Sport rears, the Maximum Motorsports coilovers in the front. It has bolt-in subframe connectors from the factory. I'm gonna put some weld-in ones in, which I'm sure will help things out and make it better. I do have the Cobra IRS to put in this car. If I'm taking cars out for corners, I'm taking this one. There's just no way around it. It corners flatter, it corners with more confidence. It doesn't feel like it's wanting to roll around and do weird things. You know, this one still has its factory rear lower control arms, which are flexible and squishy. When I did the rear lower control arms, the Maximum Motorsports ones in this car, it was quite a while between driving them. And the difference was like, I can tell a difference, it feels better, but man, driving them back to back, this car feels so much better. This car feels great. It's dirty, but it feels absolutely great in the corners. Way better than this one. I was not expecting that much of a difference. That's really cool. So was it worth it to mod this car? You know, if I'm cruising around and taking my wife to get a shake or something, no, this one's uncomfortable, and it's bumpy in town, it rattles in the dash, and it's not for that anymore. Okay, this one's the better one to take out for that. We also have the Mach 1 as well, whatever. But if I'm going out on a back road, I'm hitting some corners, this is the car. Like this is great. It's so good. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you want one of these hats, they say cheap old cars on them. It's a Richardson 632, very comfortable hat. If you want one of them, check out the link in my bio and in the video description. Take you out to Shopify. If you like this shirt, I do it on blue and black. Let me get a little closer on the back here. It's got 250, celebrating America's 250 years. You want one of these shirts? Let me know. I don't have them posted yet. If I see some interest, I'll post them up. My wife has a shirt business, so we already have access to all the printing stuff and the presses and everything. So I know I'm not a huge channel, and typically people don't start selling stuff till they're a huge channel. I get that, but I already have access to all the things and know how to do it. So if you like the stuff, if you want to support the channel, help me buy more hot rods, you know, maybe buy something, whatever. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one.